Nobody noticed this, and I'm going to explain to you why I think it's amazing. Now, Holly Rowe is a very famous sideline reporter and does a variety of different sports, mainly women's sports. And during halftime, she was interviewing Aaliyah Boston today. And at one point, she was talking about man-to-man defense. And she caught herself and said woman-to-woman defense. And it reminded me of my former player, who's now an assistant coach at Kansas State University, telling me one day after she was an assistant coach previously under Heidi VanDerveer that she didn't call it man-to-man defense. Now, she did some other non-traditional things, like had her players just refer to her as Heidi. Now, Heidi is the sister of the now retired and three-time national championship coach at Stanford, Tara VanDerveer. And so I coached women's basketball for 8 years at the college level as a head coach. And starting in 2017, I started calling it woman-to-woman defense, or P2P, because it was easier to say, and it recognized that it was women's defense against another woman. And now, I know a lot of people are going to hear this, and they're going to be like, man, this is the problem with the left. They want to micromanage every single word and this, that, and the third. And the other thing I thought about is with this toxic masculinity culture that is going on right now with men, I feel like we have to counterbalance that in some way. And to me, this is a respectful way to honor the women's game. It's not man-to-man defense. Even though Gino and most coaches on the women's side call it man-to-man defense. But since 2017, I have called it P2P. I don't understand why it's so difficult. I think it's just a small way to recognize the distinction between the men's game and the women's game, which is a very different game. So shout out to Tara VanDerveer, because my former player worked at Tara's camp, and I think that's where she first heard it, when she used to sit in on Tara's practices when they were looking to go overseas during some of the downtime of camp. And then she went over to work for Heidi, and Heidi was using the same terminology. So anyways, I will forever coach that way. I will not call it man-to-man defense, because I'm going to be on the women's side for the rest of my career, and I will call it P2P. So that way it's just more neutral, and it's not man-to-man defense. The women are women, and it is player-to-player defense. And that way, no matter if you coach men or women, you can just say P2P instead of man-to-man. But shout out to Holly Rowe for what she did.